Hello everyone and welcome to the Omega Metroid Podcast. My name is Andy Spiteri, joined by Dakota Lasky, Doominal Crossing, Rod Lloyd. Boys, Metroid Dread is real and it's coming out this fall. My god, Metroid 5 is finally here. It's finally here. Good God,
almost 2 decades. I am having an out-of-body experience right now.
It's amazing.
But Rod and I were in the chat, or we were in a voice call working the E3 event for Zelda Dungeon, and I popped off when Metroid was announced. That was the highlight of the show for me. I don't know about you guys. We'll talk about the show, but oh my god, Metroid 5. Man, and that trailer, it looked so sick. It looked so good. Wow. Woof. What a high, and what a great direct, really quickly. I think that was a direct that lived up to the hype. What about you guys?
It saved E3 for all of us.
It did. Definitely did.
The whole weekend, yeah.
I'll go as far as to say I think that was like one of Nintendo's best presentations since like 2014. That was unironically a fantastic direct. Obviously, I'm biased. Metroid's my all-time favorite series, and obviously Metroid 5, we'll get to that. That looks insane. But, yeah, we got that. We got Mario Party. We got WarioWare. We got our first look at Breath of the Wild 2, which also looks incredible. Oh my gosh.
Guy, I mean, this is like sensory overload here. Am I right? Like, there's so much going on. This is so incredible. Like, it's almost hard to know where to start. But just so that we don't have four dudes in here gushing and tripping over each other, what we're gonna try and do, because we're all so excited we could go in a million different directions. I think here, fellas, what we're gonna try and do. Let's talk about the Metroid Dread trailer. Let's talk about some of our other Metroid predictions that did and did not happen, and let's go over some of the games after we're done that that Nintendo has shown, or did show, for E3. I didn't actually get a chance to watch a lot of the Treehouse Live because I was recording Zelda stuff right after, so I think, Dak, you and I will do a deep dive into that next week. But
definitely.
Yeah, let's just kick it off. Let's start with our initial reactions to that trailer. Oh my god, everything about this trailer was perfect to me. Like, from the introduction where they said, this is Metroid 5. They let you know right away, to the very ending where it was just like, you know what? Not only is this Metroid 5, this is Metroid Dread, baby. Like, you've been waiting years and years for this. Here you go. This is finally the fabled Metroid Dread. And everything about it was so... sometimes I think you can say that Nintendo is a little bit tone deaf, but man, everything about this trailer was so on point, and so, this was a trailer for Metroid fans. This was absolutely awesome. Let's talk about our initial reactions to the trailer. Let's do this roundtable style, and then we'll talk about some of the specifics in there. Rod, let's get it kicked off with you, man. What did you think?
I thought it was cool. I like that they're calling it Metroid 5, essentially throwing Other M under the bus. Doesn't exist. And I think in terms of tone and gameplay focus, it's exactly what I want from Metroid. Obviously, we all want Metroid Prime 4 at some point, but I think I am, as far as 2D Metroids go, this is exactly what I want. I want something that's atmospheric, dark, tense, and it seems like they're trying to deliver on all that. I like that stealth seems to be a major focus in this game, and honestly, as far as I know, this is the Samus Returns team returning.
Yes,
correct. It's Mercury's team.
Yeah.
Samus Returns. So they made a fantastic game, and I'm glad that they got to basically take Metroid and do something new with it. Not retread any familiar ground, but actually take the series in a new, unexpected place. I'm glad we're getting a 2D Metroid on the Switch, so I'm hyped.
Oh yeah, Doom. What do you think, dude?
Man, 2 decades. We've been waiting almost 2 decades for this. Ever since Fusion, every single Metroid game has technically been a prequel, but we're finally advancing the story. And, I remember back when I was, 11 years old, wondering, where does this story continue? And like now I'm 27, almost 28 years old, and we're finally about to find out what happens next all these years later. It feels like I'm ready to like wake up from this coma I'm clearly in, because none of this can't be real, obviously.
Oh man.
But yeah, it's funny because we talked about, the Samus Returns reveal and how Nintendo did that all wrong by like shoving it off into the treehouse, and I feel like this was the complete opposite. You could not have done this reveal and the way this trailer went down in a more perfect fashion. Because you start off with, talking about Metroid Prime 4, and immediately right there, oh, okay, hold up, they're going to announce something else. And then you see that it's Mercury's theme, it's a new 2D Metroid. So I'm already losing it. Then Metroid 5 comes up. I'm going insane at this point. The gameplay looks nasty in a good way, and so I'm just going crazy. And then that title drop, man. That title drop.
Dude.
That Metroid Dread episode that you guys did sure aged well in hindsight, didn't it?
Yeah, we got to do another one. We got to do a follow-up.
Yeah, we got to...
I think so. Man, okay, so Dak, I want to get your reaction to this, but before I get your reaction, I wanted to save you kind of for last year in a special place, because like I felt extremely happy for you, and I felt proud of you for the work that you've been doing on this podcast, and a little bit for myself too. But I was just like, this is really an achievement for Metroid fans everywhere. But like, I feel extra proud of my boy right now, because like we finally, it's like we got there, we did it. This is hype, man. Like, what were you thinking?
Dude, thanks, man. Yeah, just for as far as we've come since like the show first began, and to come all this way and finally have like a new Metroid game to talk about after all this time, like, and it's so perfect that it's following up on Fusion after 19 years. Like, it's not just like, we thought like, okay, it might be a 2D Metroid, maybe they might even call it like Metroid 5, but like the fact that it is a direct Fusion sequel, that it's called Metroid 5 and Metroid Dread, I mean, it's perfect. They nailed it. Oh, dude, I'm so happy, man. Like, it's so cool that this is like come to fruition, that it's bringing like what really worked in Samus Returns and following up on Fusion finally, and really giving us like a solid title on the Switch that like looks cinematic, looks action-packed, looks fun, like is incorporating like the Chozo memories from Samus Returns, incorporating story and gameplay elements from Fusion. I mean, the one we were talking about on a recent episode of the show is, having like the SAX mechanic, and that there's, fleshing that out. Like, this is exactly what this game is doing, and we're seeing that like in full force. Like, I'm so excited to see where this game goes, and yeah, like we're even getting like the full development of like the game from Nintendo. Like, that's unheard of, like that's crazy.
As someone who did so much research on Dread and its development process, does this game shown today looks like the project that fulfills all of that promise from decade plus of start and stop work?
Absolutely. I mean, they just they nailed it, and not only they nailed it, but like it's coming out soon. We're playing it in October. I mean, how crazy is that? I'm so looking forward to this. Like, we're playing it so soon. A new Metroid game, and from Mercury's team, who've really like done such a good job on the franchise.
Let's go down the list here, and let's talk about some things from this trailer. And of course, the first thing that struck me was just like how absolutely awesome Samus's suit looks. It's not the fusion suit, but it is. I mean, it just looks so sleek. It's got a little bit of white on it. The arm cannon is a little bit more sleek as well. It's not as bulky as we've seen before. The visor, oh my god, it looks so. It looks so good. Her suit looks absolutely incredible in this game. That really popped off to me, and. It just really looked really great. And we've got Amiibo coming out with that suit as well, and in addition to our robot friend Emmy. But yeah, let's talk about the suit. I mean, I don't know if
friend's the right word for
friend
that.
Seems a little off.
Yeah, definitely. They feel like they're trying to murder you more than.
But yeah, we just did a suit list, tier list in the Omega Metroid Discord pretty recently. I think we're gonna have to go back to the drawing board there a little bit. I think we just got a new addition to the S plus tier.
Yeah, no kidding. I'd say. Yeah, it looked really great to me. And I think the suits in Samus Returns looked really great as well. So you could tell that like Mercury's team really understands like nailing the aesthetic of that. I was like really, really impressed like just by the first moment that I saw this suit walk across the stage. Dak, what did you think of this?
I love this suit. It looks so cool. I love that. I mean, this is like what I want. I think we talked about this again on the show recently. Like we we really nailed the predictions on this one. We wanted this kind of suit that was an evolution of the fusion suit, but like also like a callback to the original, but still something new. You know, so like I love how it looks. Like it has like obviously like new like Federation tech in there somewhere, but it still has like the visceral and like sinewy elements of the original fusion suit. You can see like the musculature of the armor and of her body and all that. It looks really, really cool. And the visor, of course, is like an amalgamation kind of like the fusion like tri-forked kind of design with like the sharper, sleeker design of the Samus Returns visor. Looks absolutely badass. The color scheme looked a little weird at first, but it grew on me, and I like it. I really like how it looks. So yeah.
Yeah. It looks awesome. And as well, so I didn't catch a lot of the Treehouse, but one thing that I did catch before I went and did the Zelda podcast is somebody, and I forget who it was, but they were saying that, this isn't the suit that we last saw Samus in, and there's a reason for this new suit, but they didn't want to give anything away and spoil anything. So it does sound like this suit is potentially tied to the story of what's going on. So really, we're really excited about that. Let's talk about Emmy, the robot friend. I guess maybe not Samus's friend, but the robot that is chasing you around. I don't know about you guys, but I had some like serious Alien Isolation vibes from this thing, where like it caught you and it was game over when it got you. It looked really awesome. It looks like kind of it reminded me of like a mix between GLaDOS from Portal and like the robots from Horizon Zero Dawn. I thought that they looked really great, and I can't wait to learn kind of what their deal is.
Yeah, SAX, step aside. We got a new badass in town. This thing is terrifying, and I absolutely love it. I've never thought Metroid should ever become a horror game. But like I've always loved little horror elements in Metroid, and I think when Metroid accentuates those horror elements, they really stick out. Good examples being some of the moments in Fusion or the GFS Valhalla in Corruption, and Metroid Dread just seems to be going all in that. Especially with Emmy, obviously they're making an amiibo of it, and yeah, I love it. What I'm really wondering is, I'm not sure if it's like the SAX in the sense that it has the encounters are like predetermined at specific points, or if it's more like a kind of a Mr. X in Resident Evil where it can just show up out of nowhere. Because if it's like Mr. X or like Alien Isolation in that regard, like, oh man, I think we're in for something special. I think we're in for something special regardless, but like, yeah.
Yeah, I would prefer the randomness over scripted sequences in my, like, maybe like utilize both, but I think having randomized encounters would be really cool.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be both.
Yeah,
I think what it seemed to be was like you'd find them in specific spots, but then you might also run into them, like they might be roaming, right? I think it should be a mixture. At the very least, it seems guaranteed that they're going to be found in specific areas, and like you're guaranteed to run into them and have to avoid them or engage with them. But otherwise, I think it'd be really cool if you have them, like you said, roaming, showing up, and you might have to deal with them on a moment's notice. As far as I know, I think only the former is confirmed and not the latter. But I think if gameplay-wise, it'd be really cool to have a mixture of the two. If you got to just deal with them, on a dime, that's exactly what I'm looking for. That'd be really sick.
I agree. Yeah, and like I would love random occurrences, but I also do think that like if you set up like a good route necessarily, like that can be really exciting as well. Like I'm thinking like Ori kind of route, like when you're escaping from the owls or whatever at the end. Like mastering that sequence is really exciting to me. So I think that they can do both. I would kind of imagine that maybe the Emmy robots work in a similar fashion to Guardians from Breath of the Wild, where like, at the beginning of the game, there's no way you're going to fight them, you just got to avoid them, but like maybe, through your adventures and through the power-ups that you get, eventually you can take on some of these enemies and destroy them perhaps. Maybe they could even do something similar where they show you like, instead of how many Metroids are left, it's like how many Emmys are left. I don't know, but I think that there is a lot of like opportunity to see what the heck these things are, and not all of them, at least to me, looked like they were super hostile. There looked like there was at
They're
least
not
a couple
friendly.
that were, like hesitating to fight Samus.
I don't know, dude.
Did you guys see that though? Like there's that little green dude.
There's a clip where one it looks like it's like following Samus around, but I assume it was a chase, not a companion.
I think it wants to murder you, man. It doesn't want to be friends.
There is a green one, so my thought was that there would be different Emmys that maybe have different powers or different, like, I don't know, some armor is more durable than others, so perhaps early in the game you're only encountering white ones, and then you are able to get a power up that can, fight against the white ones, but then different colors will be introduced that are more powerful.
I could totally see that. I literally could see them, now that I say it, maybe functioning like Metroids did in Samus Returns, and that would be a familiar mechanic for Mercury Steam to, fall back on. Let's just talk about the movement and the melee counters and stuff like that in this game. God, it looks slick. Like Samus is dashing, she's moving. She's got like awesome melee counters. It looked like they really upped their game from what we had seen in Samus Returns. Integrated the weaponry a little bit more into that as well. A lot of I really, really liked what I saw from this trailer, just in terms of like how Samus was moving and how she was fighting. It looked really, really, really fluid and really smooth.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, So I actually I released a video a few hours before the direct hit about like stuff that I wanted in the new 2D Metroid, assuming it was real. Thank the Chozo. but yeah, one of the big things that I mentioned was the melee counter in Samus Returns, and I really liked it in concept, especially in the boss battles. I thought that's where it really shined, but I wasn't a fan of it in the general gameplay because I thought it slowed down the gameplay. And right off the bat, you see this thing in action, and it just completely solves all the problems. Like Samus, like the counter has been completely reworked. Samus can now continue her movement. This is going to make backtracking and traversal so much more easier now to deal with enemies. And yeah, there's just not. This game has such a healthy amount of both brand new stuff as well as these really clever refinements of old ideas, and it seems like it's all coming together very nicely.
Yep. All right. Well, let's talk about, I guess, the setting of Metroid Dread, and we didn't really, unless they said in the treehouse, which I haven't watched yet. They didn't really say where the game actually takes place. It looks like it's some kind of facility somewhere, so not a planet necessarily.
It's like a facility in a planet. From I gathered, it's some kind of facility, but in the treehouse they specifically mention how it's different from Samus Returns. So Samus Returns, you start on the surface and work your way down, and in this game you start inside the planet, I guess, somehow, and you work your way out. Is what one of the people in the treehouse said, if I remember correctly. So it looks really cool, and yeah, it's like a mix of a facility and a new planet she's exploring. And as we were just touching on with her new movement abilities, it looks really cool to traverse. You have the slide, which looks really awesome, and I think it's a great change of pace for the game, so you don't have to constantly go into morph ball mode. The dash melee, as Doom was saying, extension of the original melee counter, and now you're moving through this facility which has all these different kind of inner rooms. It reminded me a little bit of Shadow Complex, actually, kind of how it's you're in these
I could see that.
inner undersurface corridors that are part built into the ground, but still these facilities down there that are hidden underground. It definitely reminded me of that. And yeah, I mean, it was really cool how it mixed all that. There were really awesome environments in the background with different enemies popping in and out, some going invisible. You have others that are interacting with the foreground as she moves across, splash through the water. It looks absolutely incredible.
That's actually another thing I want to touch on real quick, because one of my complaints in Samus Returns, and I don't think this was an intentional design decision. I think this is more just a result of being a limitation on the 3DS. But Samus is really slow in that game. She has very lumpy fall speed, not quite old school Metroid 1 through Super fall speed, but definitely some of the more slower ones compared to Zero Mission and Fusion. And yeah, she's so speedy in this game. I love it. Like, not just her default running speed and her fall speed, but, you know, like Dak, you just mentioned, like, the new slide, that's gonna make Morph Ball puzzles, like, so much easier to traverse and stuff like that. And Samus just looks so much fun to control in this game, and that's like one of my favorite parts of the Metroid game, because of Metroid, it emphasizes the fun of precision 2D movement, and this game is just nailing that on all fronts.
Yeah. Rod, you want to chip in anything, or should we move on to some special things that we saw in the trailer that I want to point out to you guys?
Go ahead and talk about the trailer.
All right, well, let's do it. So there, like I said, next week we'll break down some of the stuff like the Omega Cannon and other stuff that was shown off, and maybe what we think some of the stealth gameplay aspects might be. But I want to talk about just some of the things that popped out to me in the trailer, dude. The first thing that I noticed, my biggest takeaway was like, oh my god, that is a living, breathing Chozo in that trailer.
Yeah, we actually see a Chozo for the first time, like alive. That's pretty.
Wow.
Old big bird man, pretty cool. At the works, the 1s and 2s.
Is this our Dark Chozo, the one that we keep speculating about? Is he finally come to roost?
I think this is our hidden Samus Returns Chozo.
I think we're definitely gonna I think the game is gonna be about that a little bit. Like you were talking about on the show, or even not on the show last week, but I think even we were talking about it on the other podcast we were doing recently.
The podcast.
The World
which you
War
can check
podcast,
that out on, by the way.
Yes, we were talking about how this next game should definitely be incorporating the Federation, but also setting up future games too. But like they are talking about this story being maybe like a finality to the Metroid story, but I definitely think they're incorporating like both the Federation stuff as well as what we saw in Samus Returns. But I don't think we're gonna know like right off the bat which side they're on.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I'm hyped. I was just like, man, it's a Chozo. We've never seen one of these guys. We've never seen one live before. This is unreal.
It's unprecedented.
Oh. God, I can't wait. One other thing that popped out to me really looked like, to me, I could be wrong, but it really looks like you're fighting an Omega Metroid towards the end of that trailer.
Yeah, what was that thing? It was like, is it Omega Metroid? Is it like a different?
I don't think that's an Omega Metroid. It looks like something original.
Yeah, it's not 1-to-1 to like an actual Omega Metroid, but it looks really awesome to fight.
Yeah, it wasn't 1-to-1, but it looked like pretty similar, and I was just like, I wonder if this is like maybe kind of a mutated Omega, where it's like kind of the same idea but a little bit different. I mean, I would love to see like the different kind of Metroids come back in other Metroid games, because it really, outside of Samus Returns, like I mean, I guess you have a Queen Metroid and Omega Metroid and Fusion and Other M, but like very sparingly, right? So I would love to see them come back. Let's move away from Metroid 5. We're going to have a lot to talk about. Actually, one thing before we move away from Metroid Dread. My God, October 8th. Like, it's not that far away. That is absolutely unreal. There's an Unreal
Super
Deluxe
close,
edition of Metroid Dread up for... I think it was up for pre-order, but it's sold out now. But tons of cool stuff that comes with that. And Amiibo.
Wait, is it already sold out?
It was already
sold out. Went up for
Are you serious? Dude,
it was sold out in like 2 seconds.
I was going to go back and order that. What the hell is that? I was going to go back and
Well, scalpers, you win. I am going to give you my money, because...
that looks so good. You got the steel box. You got the artwork. It looks awesome. I did not realize it was sold out already. I didn't even know you could order it yet.
Yeah, I didn't even know it was up for pre-order.
Yeah.
That looks cool. And I honestly, another thing, too, that I thought was really cool from this trailer, and I think this is something that Samus Returns did really well, obviously in like the spoilers Ridley fight at the end, but just the cinematics of the game look awesome. Like you have Samus entering into an area, you get like these first person shots, she's like scanning around her area, you got like enemies jumping at her in first person, and then you go into the action. It looks really sick. Like they definitely are emphasizing how well Samus Returns, I think, use those cinematics to its advantage to really like create some impact to these fights and make it not just like your usual 2D action game. And this game looks like the exact same way. So many cool cinematics. I was really hyped about that. Even like when she goes into like the map room, for example, that looks awesome. The map room. I think it's the coolest looking map room I've seen in a Metroid game so far. And I think you can even save in there too. Even when she talks to like Adam, it looks like it's like a whole cinematic, which looks really cool. And I'm excited to see like where like the the actual story cinematics go with this game because there's a lot that they can do, and I mean, it looks really awesome, and especially with the Switch, there's a lot more power too. So I think there's a lot of potential with like the cinematics and the action they can do in terms of the story.
Yeah,
Guys, this is our first Metroid game with HD assets. Like,
Yeah,
unreal.
that too.
that my God,
It's wild
that
to
is
think
just
about, isn't it?
absolutely unreal. Yeah. Okay, let's move away from Metroid 5 because we're going to be talking a lot about it in the next couple weeks here. And let's quickly touch on some other Metroid stuff that we did not see. Starting off, obviously, with Metroid Prime 4. They did mention it, but in a way, kind of like we've seen them mention Breath of the Wild 2 previously. We're like, we're still working on it, but in the meantime, here is, this new Metroid game. What are your guys' thoughts? I didn't think that we'd see Metroid Prime 4, and we didn't. Are you disappointed by that, or does Metroid Dread just kind of take care of that?
I'm not
Yeah, I
surprised.
mean, yeah, I guess I mean, I'm not surprised either. Yeah, like with Rod, but at the same time, I did expect it. I was expecting something, like even a small teaser, a couple seconds of a cinematic. Like I really was expecting a little bit. I guess it makes sense because they wanted to show off Metroid 5, and I guess they really didn't have anything to show. And I'm not really disappointed at this end because I got Metroid Dread, so like how could I be disappointed? But I did want to see a little bit of Metroid 4 or Metroid Prime 4, and I did expect a little bit. So I was surprised that we didn't see at least another teaser of it, at least to keep us like, really hyped for it. But Metroid 5 does the trick on that. So I guess it kind of goes how it makes sense it would have gone, considering they're making a new game for the Metroid game for the Switch this year. So yeah, not too bad, but I did expect to see it. So
There we go.
Yeah. So, I'm totally fine. I mean, Metroid Dread, this is basically like our Half-Life 3, so, like, I mean, you can't really
exactly.
like, complain after that. I wasn't expecting Prime 4, but I also didn't think it was as unlikely as some other people said, but, we didn't get it, and I'm fine with that. I'm sure we'll see something next year at the very least, and so... but I have a really awesome looking Metroid game to keep me occupied until then. So yeah, don't crunch yourselves, Retro. Take your time.
Yeah. Rod, you weren't expecting to see Metroid Prime 4, right?
No, I wasn't even expecting. I was expecting no Metroid. So like anything that they did show was a bonus to me. So I think there's always more directs. There will be more directs this year. E3 next year. It'll come.
Yeah.
It'll come.
I think Prime 4 is going to be an E3 2022 game. And you know what? That's okay, because this is definitely going to hold me over until then.
I'll be playing this and Halo until then. So yeah, I think it's definitely an E3 2022 game.
Well, I'll be joining you in Halo for sure.
Maybe I'll get Halo. I don't know. We'll see.
Hey, it's free. Multiplayer's free.
Free man, you have no excuses.
Oh, I always have excuses.
Yeah, never mind. Take that
All
back.
right, let's talk about something else we didn't see. Metroid Prime Trilogy. I again didn't think that we were going to see this, and we did not. I again actually think that's okay. My working theory is that it's going to come out in the lead up to Metroid Prime 4, and I still stand by that. So I'm not disappointed. I know that some people were looking forward to it, but I think that it makes more sense to probably release. I could see it releasing in October of 2022 if we're maybe getting Metroid Prime 4 in early 2023 or maybe even late 2022. I don't know, but I wasn't like super devastated that we didn't see it. What about you guys?
I could see it being like an E3 2022 thing, and then it releasing later in 2022, like holiday. Like I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, the way I always envisioned it, because like I know some people think Prime 4 is going to be 2022, and maybe it will. I mean, I'm not basing this off any evidence. Personally, I think it's going to be 2023, and so I always thought like a good place.
Yeah.
Prime Trilogy would be like a perfect appetizer for a 2022 release, and so I could totally see them like showing off our first gameplay of Prime 4, revealing that it's 2023, and then being like, hey, I know Prime 4 is still another year off, but we got something for you to keep you busy until then, and then boom. Prime
Right.
Trilogy Anniversary Edition, November 17th on Prime's 20th anniversary. Probably not that last part, but
You know what? I've got a little anecdote to add to that after Rod gives us his thoughts about your release schedule there, because I think you're right about 2023. But Rod,
2023
go ahead.
makes sense. If Breath of the Wild 2 is due out in 2022, that I think that secures a big release for that year. They're going to need something the next year. I don't think a new Mario game is going to be ready by that time, given the release schedule for Mario games. At least not a big one, like a big 3D one. When does that big Pokemon game come out? This year?
It comes out in
that's
next year. So 2022 is going to be a big year. That's why I think 2023 they need some stuff planned. So that sounds likely.
Yeah, the Gen 4 remakes, that's this year, and then Arceus, or however it's pronounced, that's next year.
Yeah.
All right. Is there anything Metroid that we want to touch on here before we just move on to the rest of the Direct and kind of talk about what we liked, what we didn't like, anything like that? Anything we want to get off our chest knowing that was like the most hyped trailer ever?
I was happy to see some amiibo, and I think they look really cool. The amiibo look really awesome, and it's nice to see some extra Metroid merch. And again, the fact that this game's coming out in October, I mean, we are going to be talking this game up all throughout the year, and then we're going to actually be able to play it like very, very soon. I'm so hyped that we actually have. I mean, it wasn't just like, okay, this game's coming. Like, it's not only coming, it's like pretty much ready to go, and you're playing it soon. Can't wait for it.
Are we about to break Metroid Prime's 2.8 million copies?
Oh, easy.
Is it happening?
Yeah,
I think it could be the bestseller before Metroid Prime 4 comes out, probably.
Yeah, I think that this game will clear 3 million in the first year. Yeah.
If it delivers on what this trailer is promising, then I am inclined to agree. Metroid 5 was trending on was also trending on Twitter. So that was, I mean, it's not often that Metroid trends on Twitter outside of Samus and Fortnite. So I mean, clearly a lot of people outside of just the general community are really interested in it too, I think.
Yep, no doubt. I have a bit of good news here before we move on to talk about the rest of the Direct. So I made a bet with my co-host on the Champions Cast, Allison Aletha, and our bet was we did E3 predictions, and if I lost, I would have had to play through Triforce Heroes, which is a fate worse than death. But if she lost, she would have had to play Super Metroid for the first time. So guess what, fellas? I never lose. She's going to be playing Super Metroid, so we're going to make a new Metroid fan out of her. So I feel like that's cool.
I thought playing Twilight Princess was the fate worse than death for you, Andy.
Oh, God, no. Twilight Princess is like a masterpiece compared to Triforce Heroes. Triforce, let's not even go there, actually. We could be here all day. But let's talk about...
I won't get you started.
Yeah, let's talk about Zelda, because I feel like a lot of this Direct was obviously centered around Zelda, and I feel like it didn't disappoint, but it maybe wasn't as hype as I thought that it might be. I don't know, Rod. So I was looking forward to Metroid, obviously, and when that happened, I was just like, oh my god. And I also thought that it was hilarious how they put Just Dance right in the spot after Metroid, as your popcorn match, as they say in wrestling. I thought that was so funny.
The pee break.
Yeah, but so we had. We had the Breath of the Wild 2 trailer at the end of the show. We didn't get a subtitle. We did get a release date of 2022. And one of my initial predictions was actually that this game was going to release in March of 2022. And I feel like the fact that they didn't show more, they just didn't show more. They didn't have a subtitle. They didn't give a general date. I feel like maybe it's more likely now that is actually holiday 2022, and next year we see Breath of the Wild 2 really, really revealed at E3 2022, and that probably means that Metroid Prime 4, like we were talking about earlier, is a 2023 game. Rod, what did you think of the all the Zelda content in the show?
A lot of what I was expecting. I knew we'd get some news on Age of Calamity's DLC. I knew we'd get something for Breath of the Wild. I was telling the members of our team, it would be foolish for Nintendo not to announce something. Give us a small trailer, and they gave us a more than small trailer, which I was appreciative of. And, and I think the cherry on top was their little Switch or the Game & Watch system. I feel like it's, no one was expecting that. I know people are a little disappointed because there wasn't this big 3D All-Stars Zelda game announced, but I was like, anything that pointed to that as a possibility seemed flimsy to me. I wasn't writing it off as not possible, but I wasn't expecting it. So I feel like this Direct, as far as Zelda goes, was exactly what I was expecting. There were a few things I wasn't expecting, and I was surprised about, and I'm happy about. But I'm satisfied.
The Age of Calamity DLC to me looked better than I thought that it would. It looked like you could play as a guardian, which is actually
it's called
cool.
the Battle Tested Guardian.
The Battle Tested Guardian. Well, there you go. And the Master Cycle showed up. So I mean, the DLC still isn't like incredibly exciting, but it looked cooler than I thought. I was a little bit let down that there wasn't more focus on Zelda stuff. Like the Game & Watch is cool, but I was kind of hoping for some amiibo or maybe I don't know what I was hoping for, but the Game & Watch wasn't exactly what I was hoping for. And I did want a little bit of a closer look, I guess, at Breath of the Wild 2. Dak, I know that you're a Zelda fan. Obviously, you're not like a diehard Zelda fan or anything, but what did you feel about the presentation that Zelda got? Obviously, we knew that Zelda was going to be a big focus of this E3, and it certainly was.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I'm definitely a Zelda fan, but this didn't really. I guess I was still caught up on the Metroid hype. I didn't really like pay too much attention to the Zelda stuff, I guess. The Breath of the Wild trailer looked cool, but it didn't really show me too much new stuff to get me like super excited for it. Like I'm like, all right, cool, Breath of the Wild 2 still coming out. So like that really like looks cool, but yeah, I wasn't like, oh my god, this looks amazing. Like it still looks good, so I'm excited for that. I was expecting some more Zelda stuff, like for the anniversary, the collection. Like, I'm not interested in Skyward Sword HD, so like I was kind of looking for something that I would be interested in that regard. The Game & Watch looks cool, pretty nifty collector's item, I would say. Not something I'll probably get. And then the Age of Calamity DLC, that's like another game where like I'm not a huge like Warriors like fan, but like they continue to add stuff to this game. Like, maybe I should eventually pick it up, but like, I wanted to see more Breath of the Wild 2, really, more than like this kind of other stuff that I'm probably not going to get. Breath of the Wild 2 still looks fun, but not as concrete of a presentation as I was expecting. I just think I'm a little biased here just because I was very focused on the Metroid stuff, because Metroid Dread is a real game. Still very excited for that, but I was also looking for Master Chief or some more Smash at the end too, so I was like counting down the minutes.
Oof.
Yeah, so like I was like watching the Zelda, I'm like, oh, there's still 2 minutes. The Zelda trailer's still going. Like, I don't know. Like that was kind of like my bias against it, but it looks cool. Breath of the Wild 2 still looks like it's shaping up to be a really solid game, and I'm interested. The sky stuff, like the scale of the game, looks really awesome. Like being able to jump like midair through these clouds and like traversing all these like floating island looking areas looks really cool. So the trailer was awesome. I was kind of expecting a little more Zelda stuff though, but that's kind of what they have ready. I'm assuming we'll see more later in the year.
Yeah, if I've ever got your stance on Zelda. I was just gonna say, I don't know if I've got your stance on Zelda. I don't know if you're a Zelda fan or not. What did you think?
Yeah, so I mean, I really like Zelda a lot. I need to play a lot more games though. I've only played like 4 or 5. So my first game was Andy's favorite Twilight Princess, and then since then I played Wind Waker, Ocarina of Time, and most recently Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild and Wind Waker are constantly fighting out my top spot for me. I think right now I'm leaning towards Wind Waker, but like Breath of the Wild is like so different, and it's almost hard to like for them to compete with each other. And so I've been really looking forward to Breath of the Wild 2, and I don't know, maybe I feel like the odd one out, but like I was really satisfied with the Breath of the Wild 2 trailer. I think the biggest surprise was that we still didn't get a subtitle.
That was weird.
I was really expecting I was expecting to get a subtitle reveal and maybe get a better idea of the story. But I guess my first initial impressions when watching the trailer was, that's why they're releasing Skyward Sword HD, because they're adding sky areas now. And so I don't know, the scope of this game, it's like Breath of the Wild was already had this insanely huge scope, and Breath of the Wild 2, it's like almost seems like it's doubling, maybe even tripling with it, because I feel like there's also going to be underground areas just because of that initial 2019 reveal.
Yeah.
And so
they're expanding in both directions, which is cool.
And it looks like they're giving the player even more freedom with the tool sets, which is what makes Breath of the Wild work so well.
Yeah, that looked really cool.
How much freedom you have with those Sheikah slates. Like there was that one of like Link using the stasis rune to like knock back that enemy that spike projectile back at all those enemies like a pinball. like a Metroid Prime pinball. But
and one of the scenes too, where they had the Bokoblin camp on top of the stone talus, that was pretty cool.
And he's got the messed up arm. He's got the full tatted sleeve.
Yeah.
Looking good.
My boy has flow. Look at his hair just flowing in the wind.
Yeah,
Are you kidding me?
That's a nice
I appreciated
design.
that. This guy looks like Kurt Russell in Escape from New York. It is unbelievable.
absolute Chad.
Oh,
But
man.
I don't know. Maybe I'm the odd one out here, but like, yeah, I think I was really satisfied with that new trailer. Aside from not getting that subtitle,
Yeah.
I'm definitely more, not to say that I wasn't excited for Breath of the Wild 2, like obviously not, but like now I'm like really interested in seeing where this game.
Yeah,
goes.
that was
I'm
my
hooked.
thing. I was expecting more of concrete like details of the story, subtitles, stuff like that, which I didn't get from this.
Yeah. I think that's it. And I'm not going to say I wasn't, I was satisfied with that trailer, no doubt. I think I was hoping for a little bit more of like a story trailer versus, like that was a gameplay trailer, right? That showed you gameplay functions, and like that wasn't what I would call a cinematic story trailer. And I was hoping for that. That would have definitely tied me over. And for Rod and I, we've been reporting on this thing for 2 years, just calling it Breath of the Wild 2. And I don't know about you, Rob, but I'm sick of calling it that.
I totally am. I want to be able to laugh at the people who claimed it was called Breath of the Evil or whatever. It's that's not what it's called. Breath of the Darkness.
Breath of fresh air.
Jeez.
I want to be able to say, like, stop calling it that.
Yeah. So, I mean, Zelda had a pretty good showing. I don't know. I feel like I did want a little bit more Zelda stuff, but like I can't actually.
I feel like everyone always wants a little bit more Zelda stuff.
Yeah, I can't put my finger on it of what it could have been. I would have just been like, wow, that's like I feel full. Like, so my foot obviously
the Tingle game, the Tingle games re-release.
That's it.
That would have been.
That's it right there. We were talking about Tingle in Omega Metroid just the other day, but. Yeah, as someone with a foot in the Metroid camp and the Zelda camp, Metroid felt like the bigger deal to me. Like that felt like
it was the bigger surprise.
Yeah. So yeah, that but you know what? I don't mean to undersell Zelda here. It definitely had a good showing. But let's talk about some of the other stuff that we saw from this Nintendo Direct, and let's go all the way back to the beginning of the Direct and what got us kicked off. Oh boy. So we started off with the Smash Bros. Fighter, and it is checks notes. I didn't even write his name down. It's someone from Tekken.
Kazuya from Tekken. Kazuya from Tekken. He was awesome. Yeah, Kazuya.
This was the definition of a fart in church for me. This was the least. This was the least exciting.
Violet, bro.
No
way better.
way. This was the worst Smash reveal I think that we've seen.
Doo-doo, bro.
Oh, and now, Katie, you're exaggerating.
Dude,
now.
don't even try to talk to me and tell me that the Byleth or Min Min reveals were even remotely interesting. I've watched Paint Dry.
They were both way better than this. You had so hold on. You had a guy from a series that has never been on a Nintendo console, as far as I know.
I agree.
Yeah, Tekken is on the Wii U, actually.
Okay, I'm sorry. Tekken is on the Wii. The Wii U. We all know everybody went and flocked for it. You have this guy who looks like a generic creative character throwing Ganondorf, and so you start off with Ganondorf, and you're just like, we're gonna see some Zelda here, and then he gets thrown into Mount Doom, and then he throws away all the characters into the volcano, except for the one character that we want to see dead, which is Kirby. Just like, what is going on?
We wanted Min Min dead. Min Min got thrown in the volcano.
Andy, I sense some heavy projection.
Andy,
here.
You're not a fighting game fan, right? I feel like this was an announcement for fighting games fan.
Yeah,
you finally have a game that's got.
I dislike it, but I mean, God, we've got Terry, we've got Ryu, we've got Ken. Like, I feel
three
like
characters.
Okay.
Oh my God!
That's 70. The point. You've got Tekken, Street Fighter, King of Fighter. All it's all there.
Now you have now you have all the big
Final Fight, whatever.
I would have taken someone from Soul Calibur before I took this guy. This reminds me of back in the day when Link showed up for Soul Calibur 2 on GameCube, Spawn showed up for Soul Calibur 2 on Xbox, and then whatever his face, Hayachi or whatever the hell his name is, showed up on PlayStation. This is like the same caliber.
And that was hype.
I think that was hype.
You're telling me that was hype? Are you saying that with a straight face compared to Link and Spawn? Oh my God.
The real travesty is we don't have Gon or Eddie Gordo. I want them in Smash.
Yes, I would have wanted Eddie Gordo.
How about if we're going to get fighting game characters, let's get Sub-Zero or Scorpion. Or like, What's his
Hey,
name?
there's one more
again?
fighter left. It could
I mean, there's
happen.
one more left. It could happen. Yeah.
Well,
over here.
remember though, there's one specific character that has to finish the fight.
I mean,
at the
like
end,
that's
obviously.
the thing though, is that I think Kazuya is a really cool add to Smash. I just don't think he was that hype for like an E3 reveal. Like he should have just
True.
be in Smash already. But he definitely wasn't like an E3 2021 reveal. Like it should have been someone way more hype. So I agree it wasn't the exciting thing, but I think he's a cool character.
I feel like Ryu Hayabusa is still one for me that would have been like the safe option. You know, I'm sure there's Tekken fans out there that are disagreeing with me, but for me,
Dude, there
I
are
was
tons of
just
Tekken
like,
fans out there, bro. It's one of the biggest fighting games.
Why isn't
People
it
are-
Knuckles?
Yeah, my friend.
That's the question.
Yeah, my friend Christian is like a huge Tekken fan, and he was like losing his mind over this reveal.
His
so I'm
gameplay
happy
looks
for him.
cool too. Like I said, I think he's a great character. I just obviously you all know I was looking for someone else.
I that can still happen, but I just feel like that just took the wind out of my sails, especially when you see Ganondorf to start off. You're like, maybe it's someone.
Oh,
from
that was
Zelda.
awesome.
Like, this is gonna be
Ganondorf got
cool.
thrown into a volcano. That was awesome.
Well, yeah, but like then I was just like, well, who's throwing him into the volcano? It's some old guy. Like, you could tell I'm not a Tekken fan. What can I say?
I mean, that's fair, but like it was. I think it was way better than the Min Min and Violet reveals. Those characters are absolute snooze fest to me, and nobody
Oh,
cares about them.
God.
So we have a franchise that should be in Smash, and considering Namco Bandai has been like a big part of the development of the last two Smash games, they absolutely deserve a character in the franchise. So I think it works out.
Yeah, honestly, I'm kind of burnt out on Smash, if I'm being honest. So, like, I don't know. I didn't really care that much. I was, happy for the people that are, into it, but, yeah. I don't have any other thoughts.
Could have been more hype for sure.
Yeah.
It could have been more hype, but I mean, at least it wasn't one of those like. At least it wasn't a character like
Like Min
like
Min
maybe
or Violet.
Pokemon or something. No, but Violet was okay.
Yeah. Dude, Violet was not. Dude, Violet sucked. But
Violet
my
was cooler than this guy.
my favorite thing. That's not true. But my favorite thing about this was that it was only one reveal, which means we still have one more slot left.
Yes.
So
Yeah, that was cool.
that I'm happy about.
All right, let's go down the list. I'm just gonna start rapid fire naming some games to you guys, and we can give our thoughts. Does that sound good?
Yeah,
Let's do
that
it.
sounds good to me. I think I'm getting close to my destination. I think we've just not enough time.
We should mention, by the way, that Dak is in the car right now. We got him on the phone. So
I've been on the phone from in the inner works of Manhattan all the way into New Jersey now. So it's been quite the
you
ride.
just tell us when you got a dip, and we'll give you a fair
Live
fair
on
one there, but-
location.
Yeah. All right. So one game that stuck out to me, I don't know if this is hype for you guys or not, but I was pretty hyped about this. Advance Wars is getting a remaster. I loved playing these back in the day. These are like, it's basically like Fire Emblem with tanks. It's made by the same people. Really, really fun tactical RPGs. I was really hyped that this is getting redone. The graphical art style seems like really in line with the original vision. I'm looking forward to this.
I'm not gonna lie, this game looks butt ugly. I hate that art style. It looks like a mobile
It looked
game.
like a
That
mobile
being
game,
said-
bro. I've seen that on Facebook, dude. Tell me you haven't seen that game on Facebook before.
That being said, though, yeah, I legit thought this series was dead. It's not for me personally, but I know I'm happy for all the Advance Wars fans out there that are getting a remaster, even if it looks butt ugly.
Oh man, yeah. You know what? I love the art style, but I'm not going to sit here and argue with you that doesn't look like something I see my grandma playing on Facebook.
I'm happy to see
Whatever.
it back though, because like people have been asking for a new Advance Wars game for years and years and years. I still remember the last time they put out one, I think on the DS, and playing it at Nintendo World or Nintendo New York now. So I'm really glad they're bringing this series back. I think it's a cool, it's like a starter strategy game for a lot of people, but it's a fun game and it has some good depth into it once you get into the later portions of those games. So I'm excited to play that. I think it's a remake of both 1 and 2,
Yes.
which I don't think I've played before. So I'm looking forward to this game. I think the art style is not great, but it kind of is what it is. And I'm still looking forward to playing it because Advanced Wars is
charming.
nice to get back. Yeah, it's charming. Yeah, I would
Yeah.
give that. That's a bit generous, but yeah, I would go with charming.
Rod, did you ever play these back in the day?
No, like you said, it's not for me. I'm happy for the people who are happy for it, but yeah, I've never been that into these games.
Well, that's fair enough. I'm alone here, but I'm gonna enjoy my Advance Wars when it comes out. Let's talk about Mario and Rabbids, the sequel. Man, this looks sweet. Like I feel like Samus could
Let's
show up here at any
go.
second.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I absolutely adored the first Mario plus Rabbids as well as the DK DLC, and so I'm genuinely hyped for this game. Like this game looks so cool. It's like
Yep.
expanded like it's taking everything from the first game and expanding it not just in the scope of the storytelling, but from the gameplay. There's like 3D movement in like the in the turn-based combat now, which like it like so interesting, and like and it's obviously, there's lots of Galaxy influence, and if you know me, Galaxy is like one of my favorite games of all time.
Goat
Galaxy
game.
1, and yeah,
Unreal
and so,
game.
Yeah, I am so hyped to play Galaxy 3.
Yep. This was pretty cool, man. I think that the original Mario and Rabbids game might be the most underrated game on the Switch, just because like you look at it and you're like, Rabbids, like those are like, that's lame. Like you might as well just make a Minions game or something like that. But man, that was a really, really great tactical RPG. Like I had a lot of fun with it. It was challenging. I'm really looking forward to playing this, and I love the whole space idea here. It's this is checking all the boxes for me.
Yeah, I'm not even into RPGs, and yet this game just like it struck a chord with me so hard. So yeah, definitely this is going to be a day one purchase for me easily. I'm really looking forward to it.
All right, fellas. Well, if you're not into RPGs, you are definitely not into this. Oh God, I'm gonna butcher this. Shin Meguro Tensei 5 is that
Shin Megami Tensei.
is that Shin Megami? What did I say?
I don't know what you said. What it wasn't right.
Don't need to reverse it.
Let's
No,
not
yeah.
even try to go back there. What the hell is this game? This is like the most anime RPG looking game ever, but I feel like I'm kind of digging it, to be honest. Like
Have you
I
played
might just
Persona?
like try it just because. No, I've never played like a single Atlas game ever. Except
So-
I think Disgaea is from Atlas. Right?
Persona was the spin-off of Shin Megami Tensei, and now they're kind of like sister series that release on different tracks. So Shin Megami Tensei, from what I understand, I haven't played any of them. I believe that Shin Megami Tensei is even more hardcore than Persona is.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, so if you like
was watching
hardcore
this trailer.
JRPGs, I think this is it,
Like, did you guys understand like what the hell was going on in this trailer? I was just like, what is happening at every turn? And they devoted a lot of time to this game.
This was a extended pee break for me. I don't think I've paid attention to this at all. Not my kind of game. Yeah, it looked cool, happy for people who are into that kind of stuff, but it's too anime for me, too JRPG for me. I definitely don't think I paid attention to the trailer whatsoever.
This is actually one of the first Switch games revealed, I believe. This was announced at the Switch Showcase, so I guess for fans of the game who've been, they've been down bad for this game, they've been waiting for years. I can definitely relate to that struggle. So I'm happy. I'm happy for them. You're finally getting it. You're getting fed well, and there's
you
also
go.
the SMT 3 remake that's happening just before that. So yeah.
Yeah, what? I figured I didn't think any of you guys would be into it, but I don't know. I just feel like this perverse kind of like maybe I should just dive into this and like what the hell. So that stuck out to me. Last one here, and then we'll do a couple like really rapid fire. Is new WarioWare. I feel like this is like,
WarioWare.
Yes.
Oh, let's go. Sorry, but let's go. I was pumped for
you know
that.
what? I'm not gonna lie. I wanted like a new Wario Land or like a Wario World, but
Yeah.
I feel like this could be cool. It could be like a cool online play with your buddies kind of a deal.
I really hope so. I think in the trailer they said it was only 2-player, which I was kind of disappointed in because WarioWare Smooth Moves, which was my favorite one of my favorite Wii games, I think that was 4-player, but if I remember correctly, you only used one Wii remote and you kind of passed it around. So maybe you can play with 2 players, but you can still play with like up to 4 locally, maybe 2 online, maybe 4 online somehow. I would love for 4-player online, but otherwise, so happy for a new WarioWare game. Really underrated party like mini game series and really goated series. You had like the micro games on the DS and or the Game Boy Advance. You had the Touch series, obviously, and then on Smooth Moves, a goat game. I'm so happy for new WarioWare. I agree. I would have liked a Wario Land like 5 or Wario World 2, but I think we'll start somewhere, and I'll take some new mini games. I'm really excited for new WarioWare. I feel like it makes so much sense for the Switch, and it's like worked right into the title. Get It Together is kind of a funny name. I like it. I'm so happy for new WarioWare. One of those things where I was like, if it doesn't happen, like okay, but like I was really hoping it did, or that it would, and it did. So yeah, very excited. Happy to see WarioWare back in form.
Yeah, 1-2 Switch was a mistake. We're finally rectifying that mistake. That's all I'm gonna say. So very, very excited that we're finally getting WarioWare on Switch. Long overdue, and I'm not sure if it's gonna be a day one purchase for me, but like I definitely plan on getting this game sometime this year for sure.
I'm not sure that I've never really dug WarioWare, but I feel like if enough of my buddies have it and you can play online, maybe why not? Why not? All right, I'm gonna rapid fire you guys some games here. Let's just do quick word association here because we're running a little bit long, and I still have some stuff I want to talk about here. But some other things that stuck out to me: Tony Hawk Pro Skater on the Switch.
Get up, get up, get up, get up!
I have it on PC, so
This is exactly what I hope for with word association.
I have it on the one on the Series X, so yeah. They already announced this actually, but happy for the Switch owners.
Happy for Tony Hawk.
Oh yeah.
Mario Party DLC.
Looks hype.
No, that's a new game.
It's
It's not
game.
DLC.
Was that a new game? I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's
It
new.
it looked like DLC to me.
Oh, is it?
No, it's a brand. No. It's a brand new game. So this is, I think it's Mario Party Superstars. This is basically what Top 100 should have been on the 3DS. So quick recap for people in the audience or you guys if you don't remember. But Top 100 was basically the top 100 minigames, which was decided internally by Nintendo, not by like a fan vote or anything. But whatever. It was 100 minigames from past Mario parties. And that's it. There was no boards or anything, and it didn't make any sense at all, because you just have the mini-games, but you have that separate from the board game aspect. Well, this is rectifying that. You have 100 mini-games, all from the N64 era. I think they specifically mentioned these are from, like, Mario Parties 1 through 3. You have 6 or 7 boards from those games.
Remastered boards, looking clean.
Yeah, this game looks gorgeous, and the remade music too. Like, man, I was like tearing up at like
the Peach's cake looks so cool. Like that's one of my favorite from the original Mario Party, and they remastered in HD, bro. That looks so cool.
Yeah, it's just triggering all my nostalgia buttons in like all the right ways. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. It looks like a substantial improvement over Super Mario Party.
I'm consulting the Nintendo press release. It does appear to be a full title, releasing October 29th for Nintendo Switch.
Excuse me, I didn't mean to.
5 classic boards, 100 mini games. There you go.
I feel like a new game with 5 boards is that the best we can do though? I don't know.
I mean, that's more than Super Mario Party.
All right,
I think Super Mario Party only had like 3 or 4.
Yeah, I think it was at 3, and then like one unlocked.
Really?
I want the Bowser Parade board.
What is going on with
that
with that series? I feel like. Anyways, let's not linger on Mario Party. Mario Golf. They didn't really show a whole lot of new stuff.
Hype.
I don't think. Yeah.
Yeah, nothing really new, but looks hype. Can't wait.
All right, last one I want to throw out there. See if any of you old schoolers played this. Super Monkey Ball.
Yes.
Yeah, dude. I'm excited, but this literally got leaked like a couple days ago, so I was fully expecting it.
I saw stuff tweeting about it, but I was just like, yo, that'd be cool. That'd be awesome.
I'm hyped though. I love Super Monkey Ball 2 on the GameCube. So we got Banana Blitz, which was the wrong game to remake in HD, but we finally got a new game, and so yeah, I'm really interested in checking this out for sure.
Okay, guys, let's talk about something that was rumored and we did not see, and that was the Nintendo Switch Pro. And no Pro. There was not a Pro to be seen, and you know what? The more
I thought you were going to say something very different.
Well, let's talk about what you think I was going to say off air. Every day that we don't see this thing, so I was pretty sure that we weren't going to see it here, as I said a couple weeks ago on the show, and we didn't.
Nintendo made it seem like they were going to focus on software, so it seemed weird to think about a new Pro.
And for that matter, too, a lot of people were hoping to see like Game Boy games on Nintendo Switch Online, and as far as I remember, usually they'll make Nintendo Online announcements in September or shortly there before, because that's when the subscription rolls over. But as far as the Nintendo Switch Pro goes, I think that every day that we don't hear this, see this thing revealed, more and more I'm convinced about what we talked about last week, Dak, where it's like, I don't think that the Nintendo Switch Pro is what we think it is. I think that it's just the next Nintendo console.
I don't know if I think that. I think maybe it's more of a small iterative improvement than an actual like Switch Pro like people think it is.
I think that the Switch Pro is going to be the PlayStation 5 to the Switch's PlayStation 4. And that's where I'm at with this. Were you guys disappointed, surprised, any other emotions that we did not see the Switch Pro?
No, I was expecting not to see it.
Yeah, I wasn't like dying or needing to see it because like it's kind of, I mean, it's a non-issue. If the Switch Pro exists, I'm going to get it. If it doesn't exist, then whatever. I'm with Rod. I still think it's more of an iterative and like a smaller update. So I don't think it's a whole new console. I don't think they're going to do that anytime soon. The Switch is still selling like crazy. So, I mean, I think we're going to, maybe we're just going to see the Switch Pro in like a September Nintendo Direct. That seems pretty likely to me. The fact that they're just focusing on software here, I guess it would have made very little sense to then show off the Pro. And they didn't really have too much like room left to talk about much else. I mean, I guess they could have made the Direct longer, but they're generally 40 minutes, I think, usually, historically. I wasn't like disappointed because I think it's eventually I'm going to get it whether or not, it happens. And I think it's going to happen eventually, just like a matter of when, not really if. Maybe they're just going to, they didn't want it to overshadow these big releases like Metroid 5 and all that. And I still think they don't have enough to show for it, too. Like, I think they want more, like, maybe like showing off Breath of the Wild 2 on the Pro, and Splatoon 3 and Metroid Prime 4 aren't ready, and those are probably going to be like big Switch Pro games. So if those aren't ready, then maybe they weren't ready to show off the console in and of itself. They didn't want to just show off the console with no games. I don't know. I still think it's a thing. I still don't think it's a full new console. I think it's iterative, like Rod said, but it could easily show up in September. I think people just kind of worked up into a frenzy by leakers and insiders and Twitter personalities and whatnot, saying that it's like a done deal and it's going to happen. And like people were talking about it happening before E3. Just got people kind of worked up, which it didn't even like remotely happen, But like I was pumped for it because I'm just excited for new Nintendo stuff, not necessarily like, oh, I need the Switch Pro, blah, blah. At the end of the day, I think we still got a lot of really cool stuff from this Direct. So like it didn't feel like there was a lack of anything. I think if we got less cool game announcements, then like the lack of the Switch Pro as well would have been, might not have been great because that would have been a nice thing to have. But since we got stuff like Metroid 5 and WarioWare and some Breath of the Wild 2 gameplay and stuff like that, I think we got more than enough and we didn't need to see the Switch Pro. I still think we are going to see it, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see it this year. But I still agree with Rod. I don't think it's going to be a whole new console, and so maybe that's why they're still holding off a little bit on it, but we still might see it soon.
I think Nintendo understands its audience. I think like a new hardware reveal is going to get picked up by your bigger, more traditional news outlets like your CNNs or whatever. Whereas smaller game reveals probably won't show up on the front page of a big news site. So with E3, especially this year where it's like all online, mostly for the fans, the players, it would have seemed out of place to be announcing hardware that's going to be maybe more directed at the big news outlets as opposed to just a bunch of games that are more directed towards the fans, the audiences that are watching these things online today.
Yeah, I completely agree with Rod and Dak here on all that. There is one thing I do want to point out, because this was something really interesting happened. So Doom Eternal obviously came to the Switch last year. Now that game's frame rate is locked at 30 FPS. It's not an unlocked frame rate. It's capped at 30 FPS, no higher. So, well, in this Direct, we got a trailer that Ancient Gods Part 1 is finally getting ported over to the Switch, which is the first of the 2 DLCs. And most of that footage was in 30 FPS. However, there were a few shots from that trailer that were in 60 FPS. And I'm not going to lie, that was pretty sus. So, just saying.
Yep. Well, that's going to put a bow, I guess, on this E3 Nintendo Direct. Man, what event. We're going to be unpacking Metroid 5, of course, probably for the next couple weeks. We'll unpack the Treehouse gameplay reveals that Nintendo conducted, and maybe even take some questions. If you guys had to, let's go roundtable here. If you had to grade this Nintendo Direct, what do you grade it? Dak, let's start with you.
I gotta give it an A, man. We got Metroid Dread. We got Metroid 5. That's If they could have shown off only that, I still would have given it an A. But I also think it had a solid repertoire of some other games afterward. Like it wasn't just Metroid Dread. Like they said at the beginning of the Direct, there was like a game. I think they said at the beginning of the Direct, there's a game for everybody. I think they might have said at the beginning of the Microsoft Director too. But whatever. I do think that's true. That there's a game I think for everybody. If you look at the Nintendo Direct, and certainly for me, it was Metroid 5, Metroid Dread. I'm giving it an absolute A.
All right, there we go. Doom, what do you think?
Completely agree. Nintendo not only won E3, they saved E3.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, the E3 blew this year. Like, let's be real. Like, I wasn't expecting that much, because a lot of the pandemic affected a lot of the 2021 releases. So I was figuring that I thought people were overhyping E3 in general. But even with my lowered expectations, I was still incredibly disappointed for the most part. And because everything was digital, we didn't even get, the cringe that we usually get at E3. And that's usually my favorite part.
Yeah.
So not only did it suck, but we didn't even get the funny cringe compilations. So Nintendo
cringe though if you watch the
thank you. So yeah, Nintendo, thank you for coming in clutch.
There we go. Rod, what do you say?
I almost went with A- because there wasn't a one more thing big announcement at the end to kind of seal the deal. However, I think my mind has been changed. I'm going to go with an A because, given the state of E3 this year, Nintendo knocked it out of the park compared to everyone else. So, I got some surprises. I got Metroid Dread I was not expecting. I got a lot of stuff that I was expecting, but I'm happy to see anyway, and I'm very, very satisfied.
There you go.
Nintendo walked up to everyone and said, bet.
I mean, honestly, other than Halo, Nintendo's the only thing I cared about. So, yeah, definitely agree.
In the Champions cast, I gave it an A-, and I think I'm going to stick with that. Metroid was absolutely awesome. There was something about the Zelda presentation that it just didn't quite push it over the line for me to like an A or an A+. So I think I'm going to go A-, but I mean, if we're talking moments, Metroid Dread at E3 was like an A++ moment that I
one of the best moments of all
forget.
time, I think. Yeah, absolutely.
This was a high for Metroid that we'll be talking about for years and years and years. And like in 2050, when we're talking about the highs and lows of Metroid at E3, we're going to be talking about Metroid Dread finally.
Episode 800 something.
Yeah.
I would argue this is up there with that initial Prime 4 reveal.
I think it's better.
It's better than that.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah. Yeah, because we actually saw gameplay.
I wish we could have been in person for it, all together. But hey, it was, at least it exists.
Absolutely unreal. All right, well let's wrap it up. Of course, thank you guys for checking out the show, and thank you, Rod and Doom, for guesting on such short notice. Of course, Nintendo has their stuff in the middle of the day, so everyone's out and about doing their thing, working, whatever. So appreciate you guys being here. Whew, Metroid Dread is real, and it's coming in October. I can't believe it. We are going to have tons of Metroid Dread coverage, but for now, we are going to get out of here. Of course, we want to encourage you guys to check us out over on Twitter at Omega Metroid Pod. I am at Spiteri316. Dak is at DakCity_. Rod is at Rod the Master. And Doom is at Doominal Cross. Did I get that right, Doom?
Correct.
Yeah, I'm the man.
Yeah.
Let me go. All right, and we want you to check us out over on Podbean, iTunes, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Like and subscribe to the Omega Metroid Podcast. Tell your friends where they can get that weekly Metroid fix. And, stay tuned for lots of Metroid Dread news and talk over the next couple weeks, months, and further and beyond. But, I'm still shaking, but that's going to do it for this week. We're going to get out of here. Congratulations, Metroid fans. We've done it. We've willed this game into existence, and we will talk about it more next week. Take care.